Good afternoon, Kylie Vitucci, #1 Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Australia with you for another business chat. We missed last week. I missed all of you for our business chat last week. It was a crazy week getting ready from on stage, and so I thought, you know what? I'm going to take the day off and get things organised. Take a leaf out of my business chats in the past. Hello! Oh boy, there's lots jumping on. Excellent. It's a really good chat today, so I think that we'll all get something out of this one. Because in one way or the other, we have to admit that at some time in our life, we play the blame game. So we have to be very open to the fact that this applies to us and not other people. I'm sure you can imagine a lot of people that do it, but see where it applies to you. That is the goal today. See in what area you play the blame game and how you're going to change it. I'm going to ask questions at the end. And the more of you that comment at the end about what areas you think with your business you play the blame game and how you're going to fix it, then we can all learn from each other too. So that's always a good thing. I've got some more notes over here too. I've got notes everywhere. So something that I thought about firstly was to give some examples of playing the blame game. And when you think of this game, it actually it's basically not taking responsibility for the things that you may have done that has caused an outcome. But there's actually two sides of the blame game. There's two sides of this story. One is that you blame everyone else and it's never your fault. And the other way is actually the person that blames themselves for everything. And either way is not healthy and it's not good. So some of the reasons why we play this game is it could be a defense mechanism. So we just want to basically preserve our sense of self-esteem, or we're a little bit afraid of admitting guilt. I think it's a big thing these days that we kind of get taught not to accept like something that we've done wrong, because then we could be held accountable for it. But accountability is a really good thing. Accountability is what makes us grow and helps us to become a leader. And it also helps if we have a team, then it helps them to see that they can own their mistakes and be okay with it. So that's a big thing. Oh, did you girls just all jump off being live together? Did you, Ellen and Rosalie? They're all jumping on together, so I'm figuring they were all on a chat together before I came on. I'm glad you could join. This is a good chat, this one. It's also easier to blame someone else rather than to accept responsibility, because emotionally and mentally we have to actually acknowledge where the error is in our way, and that takes a lot of effort. To actually acknowledge what it is that we contributed to a situation, but then also accepting the fact that you are either at fault completely or partially, but then also being able to change it so that it doesn't happen again. So unless you actually accept the fact that something is your fault, you can't improve, you can't fix it for the future. You will actually keep making the same mistake because it's never your fault. It wasn't me. I didn't do it. So I thought about it in terms of Stampin' Up. What are some areas that we could play the blame game? And tell me if this hits home to any of you. And can you believe it? I'm not getting comments again. And I've just realized it. I'm like, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to turn it on to my computer because I want to see comments. Why does it keep playing up? Why does it have to be this hard? That's what I'm asking you. I'm definitely blaming Facebook for this one. I'm playing the blame game today. Okay, let's see if it works. Oh, here we go. Hopefully it updates live. Yeah, the internet must be really bad today because people are saying that it's a bit glitchy. Oh, good. Okay, it's updating. So, sorry if you keep losing me, peeps. It's a very, very annoying internet today. I think I'm going to have to get Bruno to update my little Telstra modem and I'll do my lives from that because then it will work well. Yes. I'm going to bring this over here. Why, hello, Rosemary. Hopefully it's in order. Anyway, sorry if it's a bit out of whack. We'll see how I go with this live video. So the other thing, oh, that one's not even on. Is that on? Oh, yes, that's on. So the areas that I thought of, and yes, as I mentioned, hello from Dallas. How lovely. Alejandra. Is that how I say it? Alejandra Gomez. I think that's Gaga's song, isn't it? Gaga was singing about you. So, oh no, actually it was Alejandro, wasn't it? It's not Alejandra. She was singing about a man. Some of the areas that we can fall into a trap, and tell me if this is any of you. So we could maybe blame Stampin' Up for a change. I was doing really well until the compensation plan changed. It's all Stampin' Up's fault now. We could blame other demonstrators. So we could say, well, if that demonstrator wasn't doing what they're doing, I would be much more successful. We could blame our team members. Well, if my team members were actually doing what they should be doing, I would advance. We could blame... Oh, this one's a good one. Well, I would be a lot more successful if I had a team leader that was supporting me. But I don't have a team leader that supports me, and that's why I'm not successful. Are we hearing any others? Are there any other blame? I do the blame game with losing weight. I'm like, it's not my fault. It's issues from my childhood. But no matter what it is, no matter how traumatic it is, no matter how deep and how terrible it is, even if you have a team leader that you do not get along with at all, it is still no excuse for it to change your outcome. It's still no excuse for you not saying, pretty much nailed your blame game. Maybe the last one. Yeah, we all tend to do it with something. We could even do it with weight. We could even do it with health. We can even do it with our family. And, you know, recognizing where we're doing it and not looking at other people, but just look at yourself where you tend to blame someone for something good that is not happening to you. Instead of saying, blaming technology. Yeah, I'm good at blaming technology, Rosalie. But ultimately, if I didn't want to play the blame game, I would make sure that before every live video, I have to make sure that I reboot my phone. And that, yes, that's a good one too. That's the other one I thought of too, Vicky, was saying that I don't have support from my husband. Even though they could have truth in them, by blaming someone else, we're actually not trying to figure out a solution, and we're getting stuck. We're getting stuck in that comment or that statement that we have made. So if we say, oh, it's because I don't have a supportive upline. Oh, yeah, that's interesting. Okay, so I'll look at what Rosalie said too. So if I had a supportive upline, I would be successful. So if this is what you're saying in your head, or if you've said it to someone else, or you've said it in your heart of hearts, basically until you get a supportive upline, you won't think that you can be successful. So you have to unlock that. You have to create a different way of thinking and say, Kylie didn't have a team leader, an upline. My upline stopped. But that didn't stop me. I got a wonderful team leader by proxy, Sue Maddox, but she was not the team leader that I joined with. And for quite some time I was in real limbo. but I still knew where I wanted to go and where I wanted to be. And even with Sue and I, we have a very different relationship. I don't really rely on her. I don't expect her to do anything for me because, like any business, yes, what Lisa said, we're responsible for our own actions. So it's like a business. We're responsible for our own businesses. So if you hear demonstrators going down this path of like, well, what does your team leader do? And what, I just say to my team, I'm your biggest cheerleader, but where I can, I will actually tell them, no, you're on your own. This is your business. I cannot carry you. I will give you all the tools that you need, but I cannot carry you. And this might be where, Rosalie, this situation, Rosemary, with your team, you could be doing too much for your team. And you could actually be damaging their view of what a Stampin' Up business is, because in any business we don't carry people. We don't, like, if someone buys a restaurant, it doesn't come with a chef. You have to make that business your own, and no one can do that for you. Have you Googled it? Yeah, I do that a lot, don't I, Rosalie? I'm like, where have you looked? And Rosalie was amazing the other day because we have like this team highlights on my blog, and the team add all their own projects. They add it to and they do an amazing job because they all add it themselves. It's up to them. I very rarely remind them. It's usually the night before I put up who the winners were, but it's still up to them to add everything. And the link had closed earlier. I had accidentally put 6 o'clock instead of 7 o'clock. And Rose was like, I can't add my project. Why can't I add it? And so straight away I said, I've put all the information up. You can go get in there yourself and fix it. And Rosalie could have said, well, that's not my job. I'm not doing that. But she didn't. She went, all right, yep, I'm up for it. I'm going to go in there. She went in there, fixed it up, did the link, changed the time, and went, that was actually pretty easy. And so all of a sudden, because I didn't step in and say, yeah, sure, okay, I'll fix it now Rosalie has this amazing information and more confidence because she's been able to do it herself. So I try and do it where I can with my team, and it's actually really hard for me. Hey, Laura, good to see you. I find it because the problem with training your team is it's easy to just jump in and do it yourself. But if I train someone to do it, it makes it easier for me in the long run. So if I'm not around and Rosalie sees the same thing happen again, Rosalie knows exactly what to do. She can jump in, or it will make someone else step up. I'm like, well, if Rosalie can do it, someone else can do it. This is the way to learn. So by not blaming your team for their lack of progression, again, what are we doing as team leaders that is stopping them from progressing? So yeah, absolutely. Or Rosalie can teach someone else. So I think it's a really interesting concept because we can actually end up not only stopping ourselves, but stopping our teams. And we can also prevent other demonstrators from blossoming as well because we're so busy blaming them. And, at times with Stamping Up, I've had calls where, I probably, right at the beginning, I didn't read the policies very well. I was real gung-ho and I'm not much of a reader. And so there was a few things that I did unknowingly that were not within policy. And, some of us have all done that. We've not read the manual, like something as simple as, say at the moment with the catalogues, not asking for money until 11 days before it goes live. There's a lot of different policies flying around at the moment. There's a lot of different ideas flying around at the moment. And the one thing that I tend to see with Stampin' Up demonstrators, and it really makes me sad, and I've really tried to teach my team to do the same thing as well as me, is not getting caught up in being police and viewing other people as like wicked or purposely going against policy. Like, it's the end of the world. ultimately, we are all trying to do the best we can. There is a lot of information, a lot. Even for someone like me, who this is my only job, there's a lot to keep in touch with, and there's a lot to get our heads around. So I think just being really kind to other demonstrators and giving them the heads up, say, hey, I don't know if you realize, but yeah, I'd probably be a bit careful because this is the policy. But what I've noticed is there's like this culture of stamping up, and almost getting to a point where people blame each other and say, oh, that demonstrator's so dodgy, you know, they always break policy and get away with it. You know, Stampin' Up do not let us get away with policy. However, they understand that we are human beings and we make mistakes. And I do everything I possibly can for my team now, because I've had to learn the hard way, to keep them up to date with policy so that they're not afraid to do things, because that's even the worst kind of thing that can happen, is that you're so afraid of doing something wrong that then you don't do things. So at the moment, people are like, I don't know whether to show the new stuff, because some people are saying not to show the new stuff. Go read your policy and get to know it really well so that you're confident and you know exactly what you can and can't do. And then if a demonstrator does come to you and say something, and you know, sometimes it's really sad, but demonstrators can be a little bit, yes, that their words aren't the nicest sometimes. And I know there was a demonstrator, I won't name names, but I know there's a demonstrator in the US, and they just copped it like so bad. Actually, there was a number of demonstrators. They got emails. It was almost like a hate mail. And to me, this is part of playing the blame game. It's like saying, well, top demonstrators are only successful because they're dodgy or they do something wrong. That's why they're successful. But there's so much more to doing Stamping Up than just sharing new product. And ultimately, top demonstrators have so much to lose if they are not within policy, that they're going to make sure that they have all their their I's dotted and their T's crossed, because there's too much at stake. You know, there's too much riding on them doing the right thing. And ultimately, policy changes. So what it was years ago has actually very much changed today. So demonstrators could probably think, oh, you know, it's changed. You know, I remember policy and it wasn't this, but it's changed. So you've got to keep up with what the latest policies are, and you've got to keep up with the policy manual as well, so that then you don't get caught up in the blame game as well with other demonstrators. So it's really, really important. Yes, tarred with that brush, Ellen, have you? Yeah, I think it's a bit of an Aussie thing. Aussies are very quick to well, actually, from what I've heard, it is in every market, actually. But I think the key in this area, and this is the interesting part, is when this happens to you, what we can tend to do is then we look at what other people are doing and we're like, well, we got a phone call or I got that email and yet that person can do it. And we can get caught up in what other demonstrators are doing instead of running our own businesses, and then blame these demonstrators for our lack of success, when in actual fact you're not running a business. You're too busy running around the place policing everyone and not working on your business. To work on your business takes a lot of effort. It might look from the outside that demonstrators have got it easy when they're at the top, but when you're at the top, you've got to be able to handle the workload. I've got over 200 people in my team that I need to make sure that they're trained, that they're up to date. Do you send customer newsletters? I've got to send team newsletters. I've got to make sure my team is up to date with everything that's happening. I've got to make sure my customers are looked after. I've got over 100 customers. You know, would you be able to handle that amount of people? Would you know who to welcome? Have you sent your new recruits a welcome gift and a card and an email? These are the things that top demonstrators do regularly and consistently, and ultimately they work hard. Nothing that they do is because they've jibbed the system or, you know, they're rorting the policy. That just becomes blaming. Ultimately, it's just hard work to create something that hasn't been used before is very challenging. So creating with new products is actually a really hard thing to do, because there's literally nothing out there to copy, to look at, to be inspired by. You are starting from scratch. So, you know, for demonstrators that are using new products, props to them, because it's a really challenging time to be using products. So yeah, it's an interesting concept, and I think in Stamping Up, there's a lot of areas that we can blame other people for our lack of success, but ultimately you have to look at what you're doing in your business. Oh, off the topic. I like that off the topic, Rosemary. I just send them a little pack of paper, very simple, and a handmade card saying welcome. Lovely to have you on the team. I know that there's other demonstrators that do a lot more, but I kind of put gifts into advancing and the advancements, and everyone in the full team get advancement gifts and an advancement card. So all these things, like, it's a huge amount of work. Like, every month I'm making a minimum of 120 cards between my customers and my team. And then making sure that everyone is being awarded. Now I also do anniversary cards for my level 1 and send them out. And that requires a lot of work. You know, there's nothing involved in what Stampin' Up! Demonstrates. If you see a successful demonstrator, you have to think about that iceberg illustration. All you see is the tip of the iceberg, but underneath there is so much work that goes into making sure that it's a successful, thriving business that is moving ahead. And it's full on. It's a really big job. But, you know, you can do it as long as you stay focused, you don't play the blame game, and you move forward. If you're moving forward and you're not allowing these things to hold you back, then nothing will stop you in your business. So here are 7 signs that you could be playing the blame game. I like these. Do you find it hard to admit when you're wrong? And more importantly, would the people who you know you best agree with your answer? So ask people who know you well. Can you admit when you're wrong, or do you find excuses? Do you focus a lot on the past instead of looking to the future? Do you use other people's irresponsible behavior to justify your own? Do you find it hard or difficult to apologize to others? Do you believe life is unfair and often feel sorry for yourself? Do you view negative occurrences or relationships in your life as being out of control? So do you see yourself as a victim? And do you feel powerless to change anything in your life for the better? So I'm sure there's like one or a few of these that affect us. But I think that the one thing that I really hope that you come away with the talk today is identifying what your blame game is. You know, finding it hard to apologize to others. Something that Bruno said I tend to, and I've noticed it with a few of my team members too, and I've had to learn the hard way, is when someone else brings up a suggestion or an idea, I find it very hard to take on what they've said. So for me, it's kind of like admitting that you're wrong. It's in that sort of category, but it's more like I find it hard to admit that I'm never right. I'm never wrong. Is that the right way around? It's like, no, my way is the best way. It's worked before. So, and this is where, you know, taking responsibility comes in. It says accepting personal responsibility for our choices and for our actions. So here's a few tips. So apologize when you're wrong and accept the fact that you're not always right. So this is something I had to work on with my team, because I've been successful, or I am successful with Stamping Up. I can very easily say, well, no, I know the best way to do this because look at me, look at where I am. But that would be the wrong way to view it. Even if you are successful, there's always someone in your team or your customers that you can learn from. And you have to be very careful of this as you start becoming more successful. What can tend to happen is you get more and more closed to ideas because you think that your ideas are the best ideas because they've worked. But that is not the case. Things change and you need to adapt and you need to progress. So by listening to other people, it's really, really important. Admit when you've made a mistake. Learn to forgive and let go of the past. So this is really important when you've, particularly working with other demonstrators. And I love what Nadi said. We have to continue to evolve, to continue to grow. And it's true. You have to keep learning and keep looking at things like this and saying, where do I need to improve? Because if you take on a team, you need to train them, you need to support them, and there's different personalities and you're not always going to agree on things. So you have to be very flexible in the way that you teach and the way that you assist people without being, allowing them to be their own person and have their own personality and their own way of running their business is really important too. Like for me, online, great. And I used to say, online's the way to go. It's the best thing ever, blah, 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 with my team. But that is not the case. There's some team members where face-to-face is just their thing and it works better for them and they need to stick to what they are happy doing and what they're good at. So, yeah, being very careful not to push your views onto other people. Be open to the ideas and opinions of others. Your viewpoint is not the only valid one. So that's something I had to work on. Identifying things in your life that you're not happy about and do something to change them. And that really hit home to me because I'd really like to lose some weight. But it's like, it's not just saying I want to lose some weight. It's like identifying why I'm not losing weight or why I'm eating certain foods and who am I blaming? I'm like, oh, I've worked so hard today. I deserve a treat. What? Why is food a treat? Why am I not accepting the responsibility of not changing? I can't expect to lose weight if I don't eat a certain way or go to the gym. So, again, it's part of playing the blame game, isn't it? It's like, but I just didn't have time to cook well. Well, make time. Take something out of your life that doesn't need to be there, like watching television. Practice saying, I am responsible until you start to believe it. So actually saying it out loud, I am responsible. It's like helping your brain to actually understand what you're saying, and it's admitting that you need to admit when you're not right and that you need to take this on. Because a lot of demonstrators too, what my view is the only view, what a lot of demonstrators I've noticed, they have a lot of fear of failure. And fear of failure is actually fear of responsibility as well. Because fear of failure means that you're not open and willing to admit when you're wrong. But if you have no fear, then you have no fear because there's nothing to fear. Because if something goes wrong, you just go, oops, I'm sorry. I tried, I'm sorry. And so by allowing you to say, I am responsible, it's like saying, I'm ready to step up. I'm ready to take on something that I wouldn't have taken on last week. Take smart risks and realize that you are responsible for the outcomes. So try some things. Try some things that you haven't tried before. Try blogging if you're not blogging. Try doing a design team challenge if you haven't done it before and say, I'm going to do that every week. And push yourself out of that comfort zone, but own it when you don't fulfill it. I'm with all the Ibbles. Responsible, reliable, sensible. Kind of boring. I love it, Suzanne. That's a good place to be in. And then also adopt a positive outlook on life. So glass half full rather than glass half empty. If you have a positive view of things, the things that can really bring you down, don't. They're just like, meh, doesn't matter anymore. And then you don't need to worry about what other people think about you. You don't have to worry about what people's judgment is. You don't judge other people. It's just like, I am what I am. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But usually when you're true to who you are, it will work, because you will find your people, and your people will be attracted to you and what you have to say, either on your blog or your creativity, in any area. Recognize and embrace your own shortcomings and ask others for help when you need it. I know even for me, getting an assistant, a paid assistant that is an employee, it was hard. It was hard for me to say, I need help. But as your business grows, to say that you can actually do it on your own is craziness. It's like nervous breakdown inducing. You need to know your limits. And for some of us, like, I want a life. I don't want to work 70 hours a week. I am very happy with 25 to 30 hours a week work maximum. If I can, I'm trying to bring it even lower. I want like 20 hours a week if I can. So know what your lifestyle, know what you want, and don't let anyone else say that that's not appropriate to ask for help, or that that's cheating, or again, it's not your problem. It's just them playing the blame game and saying that what you're doing is not right. You know what? You can run your business however you like it, as long as it's within policy. So do not take on what other people say if it's negative. So I loved this quote, and I will end with this quote. Yes, all women, I think, find it hard asking for help. We're really bad at it. So when you blame others, you give up your power to change. I'll say it again. When you blame others, you give up your power to change. So we all want to change, do we not? We all want to progress. We all want to improve, and we all want to get better with our Stamping Up businesses. We need to accept responsibility. We need to be true to ourselves. Hello, Alison Okamitsu. Lovely to see you. Yeah, and it's really, really important to make sure that we acknowledge exactly what we're doing in this whole game. I like that. Don't let anyone rent free in your head. Live rent free in your head. Love it. And it's true. We can get so caught up on what other people are thinking or saying or doing or judging, or not your problem. It is not your problem. And the less we judge, the less we think about what others are even judging about. Rosemary says, I'd like to be stronger in setting limits with my business. So far, I need real work. Yeah. Here's the positive in that. I'm positive I need to set limits. Yeah, we do. We do need to set limits. And we do need to have a proper schedule, like your planner. Oh, my goodness. And especially with the new catalogue, having a planner. Boom. We need planners. We need to write everything down that we're doing, when we're doing it, and when we would like to get it done by. And not blaming anything else. Like if we've got Facebook running and we're playing on Pinterest and we're mucking around, and at the end of the day we're like, I didn't get much done today because the kids were really annoying. And it's like, no, own it. What were you doing all day? Did you actually do any work? Probably not. Besides Kylie, my planner's my best friend. Oh, you're so cute, Alison. Yes, a planner to plan your planner. I like that, Leonie. So yes, be really, really aware of where you are blaming other things instead of taking accountability. What's the thing that we have to keep saying? I am responsible. So maybe start your day with just sitting there and saying, I am responsible for what happens today in this craft room. And if I deviate from what I have written in my planner, I have to own it. I can't blame anyone else. It is completely my fault. I picked up the phone and went chatting to Louise Sharp on the phone, or Alison Okamitsu, gas bagging, you know. That is my fault. I have to own it. So I think that we can all get a lot of really positive things out of the talk today. And what I want you to do, two things. Share Share this video if you think there's someone on your team or someone that you know that could benefit from this video. I would be most appreciative. And if it helps others, then that's brilliant. That's even better. So for Rosemary, please share it with your team. And then I'll tell them, go work, all right? Look after Rosemary because she looks after you. It's time to get your butts into gear, girls. And the other thing that I want you to do is in the comments here, and you can take your time, you don't have to do it now, but write down what it is that you think that you play the blame game. You know, is it not having a supporting family or a supportive husband? Is it not having a team leader? Hey, Katina, good to see you. Not having a team leader that supports you. Is it you don't have enough time? That's a really interesting one, and I think Vicky brought that up. Time management. I don't have enough time. Do you know how much you can get done in a limited amount of time? It is incredible how much you can get done. As long as you're focused and you shut down social media and your phone, you can get so much accomplished. I get so much accomplished in the few days that I'm here because I'm just like, I have to hammer it. Monday to Wednesday, I'm pretty much making like 4 or 5 cards, blogging for every day of the week. I run Random Act of Kindness group. I run a design team, global design team. I'm part of another design team, Stamp to Share. I run the Thailand blog hop. I have another group. Oh, the business group, Aim for Alaska. Like seriously, there's a lot going on. But I do get overwhelmed sometimes. However, I have to, every bit of my time has to be used well. And when it comes to a phone call, I do have to say, I really have to go. Or if someone comes over, I'm really sorry, I'm working today. I have to own it. I am responsible for everything that I have put in my planner, and I have to fulfill it. I have to do it because people are relying on me. No, I'm not amazing. I'm nuts. I'm really crazy. But, you know, it all gets done. And, you know, with the Random Act of Kindness group, it's gone crazy. I had no idea how amazing that group was going to be. Same with Aim for Alaska. I started that for my team. So, you know, I've asked for help. I've got admins that I've put on and they are doing a brilliant job. And, you know, I give them a gift to thank them, a tutorial bundle. You know, I look after them because they are precious to me. They allow that group to run without me having to be hands-on all the time. I know it's being looked after now, and that creates less stress for me, and it also helps people who may not have ever been in a position of being an admin before to have really cool experiences. I know Suzanne is helping me. Suzanne's here watching my video, but she's a great support to me and it's helping me connect with other demonstrators around the world. Yes, believing is the big thing. Procrastination. Oh my goodness, I'm so bad at procrastination. But the best thing is locking myself in stops me from procrastinating. I still kind of do it. I leave it to the last minute, but it's in my diary and I have to do it. It's very rare that I will say to a design team, I can't do it. I'm like, no, you can't say you can't do it. It's your fault. You have to take on board the fact that you were mucking around and procrastinating. So don't give up on something. It's very easy in Stamping Up if you're asked to be, you know, on a design team or a blog hop. It's very easy to pull out. It's not hard. But I know that if I start getting into that routine of pulling out of things, it's going to be very difficult to jump back in. So even with global design, I haven't missed one for I don't know when. If it does get a bit busy though, at least we're in different time zones. Yes, it's true. Thank goodness we've got you, because overnight all the Americans and the Canadians jump on onto the Random Act of Kindness. Yeah, I like that one, Vicky. Confidence thing. But again, it's an interesting little concept because I look at Mary Fish. She's a very, very shy person. But again, she doesn't blame her shyness or... yeah, she just gets on with it. It's like, don't let it hold you back. And ultimately, you're caring too much about what other people think. If you're worried with confidence, I mean, I only know that because I had to work through it with my creativity. I was really afraid to share my creativity because I think it's a piece of you. It's personal. And putting it out there, you are putting it out there for judgment. But what I had to come to the conclusion of is some people are going to like it. Some people are not going to like it. And there's some cards that I don't like. And I go, you know what? I'm putting it up because someone will like it. And it always comes out like that. Some cards are going to be more popular than others. That's okay. You're not going to, like if I put myself under that much pressure that every single card had to be a masterpiece, I wouldn't create. I've just got to use what I've got, do what I've got, not put too much emphasis on it being like viral or amazing. It's like it's just something that I need to do regularly, and some will be good and some won't. You were scared in doing swaps, Vicky. Oh, that's sad. Well, Stampin' Up will really help you. Because I know there's a demonstrator in New Zealand, she's not shy about it, she said it in some of her talks, that before she was a Stampin' Up demonstrator, she was almost housebound. She was that shy and had a lot of anxiety when she left the house. And now she's just one of the top demonstrators in New Zealand and doing incredible things. She runs classes and workshops. So I think it's just, yeah, pushing yourself out of that comfort zone. Yep, the more you share, the less you care. I love it. It's so true. It's like, yep, next. Whereas before I would post something and I'd wait. I'd be like, I didn't get many comments. Should I pull it down? I don't know. I don't think people like it. Now I'm like, whatever. I've shared it. Move on. All good. Some will like it, some won't. All good. You can't get hung up in all that. You've just got to keep going. And you look at some top demonstrators and some of their cards are nothing fancy at all. They're just cards that they're putting on their blog and they're using new product. So, yep, went out of your comfort zone. Good on you, Vicky. So yes, I think this is a very, very interesting area. Ooh, I blame time. Ooh, I like that one. Past months, I'm a little overwhelmed and discouraged. Yep, need to get on with my plan and vision and stop being behind. Yep. And the interesting thing about time is you have to step back and look at what time, like where you are spending your time, and is it actually going to result in customers and in recruits? And is it helping your team? They're your three main areas: customers, recruits, and training. Because that is where your income will come from. If it's not helping those areas and you're running out of time, you have to really consider whether it's worth it. Yep, it's pretty scary putting it out there. I agree, Shirley. But yeah, you have to be very, because I think demonstrators, we get very caught up in the finer details. And we get caught up in things that don't necessarily result in something. So say with my customer cards, I have to be very, very aware of how much time is going into those cards, because it needs to be something that I can replicate a number of times. So everything that you do needs to be intentional, because it has a flow-on effect to everything else. And you need to know how much time to give yourself to. And, this is still a work in progress for me. I'm still trying to learn how long things take. And I can't say, oh, it'll be quick. Right. 4 hours later. Good, that's done. Yeah. So, yeah, I think it'll be really interesting to hear what it is that you think you blame in your business. And could you do a video for customer cards and team gifts? Well, actually, it's very simple. I think I've even shown people on my live videos what I do for my customer cards, because every month I actually make sure that all my customers see it. I'm going to get this box over here. So these were the ones that I organised for this month. So you all saw those, didn't you? So they're, they will come in handy for not only customer cards, but also random act of kindness and all sorts of different things. So I did 100 of them. So that's just, yeah, some of them. But, you know, whatever I have here can be used for other things. And, you know, it's a massive amount of work, but for me, it's customer service. It's like the best thing that I can do for my team and for my customers. So, yeah, lots and lots of work there. But, and, you know, for me at the moment, I'm really behind because I've got to make sure that I do my next lot so that I can show that before the next month begins. Because it's always nice showing them a month before what cards are coming. So, yeah, you just got to set aside time, and Jessie really helps me. She's here every Wednesday, and I know exactly what she's worked. Well, she has her own projects even. And at times I even ask Bruno for help. He's helping me at the moment with all the retired products and pulling all them out. So, you know, you could ask the kids, do you want to help Mummy go through the catalogue and find the ones that aren't here? Get them working. Just ask for help, you know, have some friends come over and maybe you can sort through things together and make it fun. But be on top of it. I think one of the things that is really important, and it was something that I think came out here. Yeah. So people who don't play the blame game, they are proactive instead of reactive, moving forward towards their goals and dreams and taking responsibility for every step of the journey. And so I think a lot of demonstrators, we tend to be reactive rather than proactive, and it's a really dangerous cycle to get into. Do I write a message? Absolutely, I write a message, Elle. I think it's just a really nice thing to get given. I don't know, if I got given a card, I don't think I could give it away to someone else. Yeah, because, yes, you did catch me live. Yeah, because I think it's nice for them to hear from me personally, and that builds that relationship that I have with them, my customers. And, you know, my customers are beautiful. They've sent me cards in return thanking me that I'm their demonstrator. They've sent me gifts. I've received gifts as well. So that's been really nice. You see, Wendy does something different. Again, it's like ultimately it's up to you how you run your business. Because I do know some do post-it notes, some do I write inside. I make it quite personal because I sort of asked my customers, do you give the cards away or do you reuse them? And they're like, no, I would never give your cards away. And I'm like, well, if you're not going to give them away, I'll write in them. Because, you know, then it's something nice and they can keep it. And some of them do. They put it in a little box and they keep all of them. They collect them. So that's really nice. So I'm looking forward to hearing what you all have to say about playing the blame game and what it is exactly that you can see where your weakness is and how you're going to overcome it. What is the new message you are going to say? So if you're the one that says, I'm not going to be successful because my team leader doesn't support me, what are you going to say instead? What is your new line? I want to see that written down. Or if it's, I'm not successful because my family doesn't support me. They don't understand what I'm doing. What's your new, what are you going to say? What's your new thing that isn't going to be blaming them for your lack of success? You need to be able to move forward from these things, these blocks that you're creating, and move forward away from them. So, oh, you're going to love it, Wendy. You can watch the replay. It's very interesting. Yes, I've learnt a lot from this. They usually help me a lot, these ones. And yeah, as a leader in particular, I think it's good to admit when you're wrong and, yes, help your team. Smack them until they do. Love it. Well, for me, like Bruno was not supportive, but we rewrote that when I got my first incentive trip because he saw, like, I had to prove my success. That was basically how I rewrote that. I didn't say I'm stopping because Bruno isn't supporting me. I was like, I have to show him that this is going to work. And once he sees an income and once he sees it happen, of course, then he will support me. You know, if I look in from my husband's point of view, all he's seeing is things come out of the credit card. Of course he's not going to be happy. I don't want to be my worst enemy. I'll be my best friend to be successful. I love that. Yep, Kevin wasn't in on board until your first big bonus. Yeah, you just got to show him the money or show him a free trip. So you've got to keep going. Like, don't let it stop you. But I think the thing that I needed to be mindful with was how much time I was using while he was here. So I had to be a little bit clever about where I was doing my Stamping Up business and being very, very aware of time with him. And of course, we're going to not like something if it takes us away from our loved ones. So poor Bruno, he's like, gets home from work and I'm still in the craft room, like creating card kits or... So for him, it was like Stampin' Up's the enemy because I never see my wife anymore. So you have to think about how you can support them, how you can get them on board too by your actions. Yeah. So thank you all very much. It's been wonderful. So I'm off to finish my 3 cards for the rest of the week and my 3 blogs. Please keep in mind, no pressure, but please keep in mind you only have 12 days left to sign up for Aim for Alaska. I am closing subscriptions, and the reason for that is so that I have more time to do what I need to do for that group. I was finding adding people every month was just taking time away from what I needed to do. Oh, that's nice, Sandra. So if you want to be part of that group, I will put the link up, but it finishes at the end of this month. So only 12 days to join Aim for Alaska. You will get 6 months worth of content that has already happened, plus the next 6 months. So tomorrow we have Meg Lovin going live in the group, as well as Julie Kettlewell. Julie Kettlewell is going to be talking about Project Life and how she uses it in her business. And Meg Lovin is the number 11 demonstrator in the world, and she is telling us how she runs her business and her tips and tricks and everything. So it's an incredible, incredible group. It has turned into something so much more than I ever expected, and it's because of the type of people that are in that group. So supportive. We all learn from one another, but it is amazing. You will not regret joining it. The people that are in there are just loving it. So yes, Meg is fab. I really like Meg. So it's going to be really nice. Yeah, and Julie is amazing too. Yeah. So yes, it is an incredible group. So if you're sort of on the fence, if you don't join by the end of this month, you have to wait 6 months, because I am going to be doing a program like this again next year, but I am only going to open it once a year, because anything to do with business and Stamping Up, it is not going to happen overnight. It is not going to happen with one talk. It is something that you need support with through that whole entire year. Particularly if you're aiming for trips or if you're aiming to up your business, you need that support through the entire year. And that just works well for me. It works well for my team. And I think it works well for Stampin' Up demonstrators as well. We need that time and that support, because things don't happen overnight. Oh, you missed the scholarship. I will be doing that at the end of the year again as well, doing the scholarship. But yes, we had 2 lovely people get the scholarship, both from the UK, but one of them, actually Anna Kroll, she is Polish. So that was really cool to see her do her live video, and yeah, learnt a little bit about Anna. She's amazing. So yes, it's growing a lot. Yes, Aim for Alaska is going out of control. So it's very exciting. So yeah, if you have questions about that, please ask me, because there's only, the 12 days left to subscribe. But we have 2 speakers a month from the top 100, plus others that have done incredible things in their business. And yes, there's still all the videos from the past as well. So there's another 12 videos there to watch and catch up on as well. So a lot of support. So if you think that that's where you need to be, again, not playing the blame game, you don't have a team leader that supports you, well, go find somewhere that's going to help you. Go get training. Aim for Alaska's your thing. No more excuses. Not allowed. Hello, Miss M. Jane. She's here right at the end. You'll have to watch my recording now. I feel like there's a celebrity in the place. I hope you're not blaming anything, Em, for your lack of timing to come right at the end. Hello! So yes, it's been an amazing, amazing day. I look forward to reading through everything that you all have to say about our topic today, because I know when I hear from all of you, I learn from you as well, and we all learn from each other. So don't think that what you have to say is not worthy of writing. Even if you're shy, yeah, whatevers. Whatevers, Em. Yes, it helps other people. So please write it. If you can't write it for yourself, write it for other demonstrators to learn from. So thanks, Em. I hope you get to watch the beginning. It's really good. I think everyone enjoyed it. Did everyone enjoy the talk today? Well, hopefully you did, because you'll all come back next week. What's next week's talk? Ooh, I'm going to find it. Next week, I always get a surprise because I've written them all before, and then I'm like, ooh, that one's going to be interesting. So we did don't, ooh, this one is going to be interesting. The next one is look after your body. So it's a bit about, you know, particularly for those that are mums and juggling families and juggling Stamping Up, and some of you are even juggling other jobs. So yes, this is going to be a good one for me too, because we sometimes forget about looking after ourselves, and that can impact in our business as well. Cool. Thanks everyone. You keep showing up at the end, Sarah. You watch the other one and then you come to this one. I'm making sure that I put up the time zones so that everyone knows exactly what time I'm going live in each time zone. And you can see, yes, how you can catch up then. Cool. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next week. Thanks for coming. Bye. Have a good afternoon.